You all need to be correctly shown how to clean, prep and tack together your pipe, your plate, what you need and how to do it. Let's get to it. Now you know how I've cleaned my pipe and my plate and I've beveled both of them. But I've beveled both of them correctly because I've used my welding gauge, okay? So what I've done is I've set it flat, gone around just to make sure it's correct, and I've got it set to a 40-degree bevel on there. And on the pipe then, flat on the pipe, all the way around, and it's 40 degrees on there also. There's a couple of things I need to explain to you, okay? Make sure, this is crucial, make sure you're cleaning the inside of the pipe, okay? At least 5 to 10 millimeters back. You don't want any contaminants on there. You don't want any oil, grease, mill scale, because what will happen, when you start to weld, it'll start to bubble up, you'll get porosity, it won't be very nice and it won't be very pretty, and it'll just mess up straight away. When you're grinding your bevel and your root face, make sure that the pipe itself is flat, okay? Make sure that it's flat, try your best, okay? Because when you go to connect both the pipes together, you may have a mismatch. And what a mismatch is it'll be flat on one spot, but then the other spot it might have a dip in there. So the bevel will be jagged and side to side, and it won't be the correct size all the way around, okay? So just make sure, that's my next tip, make sure it's clean on the inside, that's crucial, and make sure that the fitment is perfectly in line with each other and there's no mismatch or the edges aren't jagged, okay? On the plate, make sure you're cleaning 10 mil back, 5 to 10 mil back on the front and the back. The next bit I want to explain to you is very important. Down your bevel, okay, there's something called a root face. Some of you might know it already, but what a root face does is it helps to have a bit of something to hold on to when you root in your pipe or your plate. So when you go side to side, it just gives it a bit of reinforcement on the sides of the walls so nothing drops through too quickly. And I like to put a 1 mil landing down the root, down your bevel, okay? So a 1 mil root face. And the way to do that is get your bevel pipe or plate flat, get a grinder, and once you've beveled it, just go around it quickly, okay, with the pipe. Just a quick little touch of the grinder. And then on your plate, run the grinder down there really quickly, and that will give you a 1 mil landing on your root face, okay? And that's all you need with that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring you closer again, and I'm going to show you exactly how to tack it up correctly and the things you might encounter. This is the way that I tack up a 2.5 inch pipe. I'll make sure I've either got a pair of V-blocks or I'm on a flat surface with something stopping the pipes from rolling away when I'm tacking it up, okay? Get yourself a metal rule, making sure it's flat on the top and on the sides before you tack it. And we want a 2.5 gap, okay? So the way we get a 2.5 gap is we'll use a 2.5 stick electrode. We'll beat all the flux off there, give it a quick brush, bend it on the sides to make sure it slots in. And once we know we've got the pipe set correctly, I'll pull out the stick electrode then. If it's a bigger pipe, I will leave it in there. But when it's something so small like this, it's not going to move much, okay? As long as you don't hit it about. Right, let me just switch over. I'm going to show you how to tack it up. Right, we're all set up to go now. I'm using a size 5 cup with a gas lens. If you can see, my stick out my tungsten is pretty much going down into the bevel. You want to make sure that when you're tacking it correctly down inside. You want to have one tack at 12 o'clock, one tack at 3 o'clock, and one tack at 9 o'clock. And the way to tack it correctly is the way I like to do it. I find the easiest way is put a little blob on the side and a little blob on the side of the bevel. Put one in the center and that will start it off. It'll cause like a little bridge. We want to make sure with our tacks we're rooting it just a little bit as we're going along. 2 to 3 mil would be perfect in length. So dip on the side, dip on the side, dip in the center. And then just start doing that continuously, nice and slowly along. make sure that you're not going too quick because you do not want your tacks to be too cold. What I mean by too cold, they look a bit blobby, they won't look fused correctly. Just make sure they're going at a tidy speed, you're not going too fast when tacking it. One thing I'm going to add, after every tack, make sure you check that the pipe hasn't closed up on the other side, okay? And if it has closed up a little bit, just take the pipe out of your V-blocks or your table and just give it a little tap on one side of the pipe and that'll open it back up, okay? I forgot to mention, make sure you're using either 70 to 80 amps, okay? Wherever you feel comfortable with will be perfect for tacking either your pipe or your plate. Right, so going on to the plate now, make sure that it's off the surface. I'm using V-blocks to hold it up, okay, off the surface, and make sure there's nothing obstructing it all the way along. So when it comes to tacking it now, I've got my 2.5 stick electrode again. I've just placed it into the center. I'll pull it out. I'll do a 3 to 4 mil tack along the back side, okay? We're not doing this on the front side now, we're tacking it from the back side. It just makes it easier and it makes sure we got strong fused tacks. So let me bring you a bit closer again so I can show you how to tack it up. The same technique as the pipe, side to side, but the problem you may have with this is it will definitely pull after you tack it one side, so just make sure it's flat again and it's the correct gap all the way along before you tack it on the other side. And with this one, it'll have a tendency to drop through a lot quicker, so you can feather the trigger. And what I mean by that is every time you dip, let go of the trigger a little bit, start again, dip, start again, okay? And these are the finished results of our pipe and our plate tacked together. I have feathered back the stop starts on these ready for the next episode, but I'm not spoiling anything yet. This is exactly what I want yours to look like, so good luck. And that's it from me for today. I've tried my best to get as much in there as I can for you, the best arc shots and showing you exactly what I'm doing stage by stage. So if you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and press the bell icon to stay up to date. Take care of yourself and stay tuned.